What's going on, guys? Zedd here, bringing you another Tekken 8 video. In this one, I will still be keeping it focused on Claudio, as you can probably tell. And I'm going to be talking about all of the new moves that Claudio got. There are only 9 from what I could see. I don't think I missed any. If I did, oh well. We'll talk about it in the comments, let me know. But there are only 9, and so what I did is I broke them up into 3 categories. 3 of the worst, 3 that are mid, and 3 that are the best. There are 3 that I almost never use, there are 3 that I sometimes use, and then there are 3 that I always use, and or they vary in their application and their usefulness. So I'm just going to share my thoughts on that because I feel everyone talks about Claudio. I watch all the Claudio content out there, but in all the matches I've watched and played in, very few people are actually using a lot of his new stuff. Maybe it's just Tekken 7 habits, maybe they don't think it's very good. So I just want to share my thoughts on it at the very least. And with that said, there will be timestamps in the description for each individual move if you just want to hop to a certain one, or if you just want to see my broken up tier list, if you will. It'll also be down there as well. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let me hide my face and I'll see you there. The worst of the new 9 moves that Claudio has, in my opinion, will be back 4-4. It's this string right here. Now, back 4-4 at first I thought was going to be quite good, because I thought, well, we're changing the frames on back 4-1, it's now plus on block, right? Back 4-2 as well, it's now a heat engager, right? So I thought, well, maybe having a launcher here is not bad. But what I neglected to realize was that it's really hard to get this launcher off, and it's incredibly slow when the opponent does respect it. So the combo is pretty good, I'll admit, right? When you land it, it doesn't really add a lot of scaling, so that's great. Like even just that basic 3-hit is 53. So when you do land it, it definitely hits hard. However, landing it is the problem, because you can even, I've seen people react to this and either heat burst or armor or jab, or they just react to the fact that you're delaying and they just down jab, because this doesn't require a lot of respect, and then the delay would of course duck that as well if they do down jab. So it's just not great, and it's not easy to land. Now even if you want to apply a mix up here, technically they never have to duck after back 4, so they can just wait for the follow-up, right? Now it doesn't even combo on natural hit, as you see here, and it only combos on counter hit if you mash it out, so you can't confirm that you're getting a counter hit. And if you delay it at all, even on counter hit, it won't combo. So this is a big problem. Now again, if the second hit connects by itself, sure, it's a good launcher, but landing this is just so incredibly difficult, and of the new ones, this may not be the worst, but it's the one that I see the least amount of use, and the one that the one I use the least, and the one that I find the hardest to land. Not to mention it's minus 13 on block, so you're kind of using this punishable move, and you're putting it out on a whim. I've tried to be cheeky and sort of whiff punish or bait a whiff with it and launch people like this, right? Oh, I whiffed. Well, no, I launched you. But that's being cheeky, and I wouldn't say that's a reliable strategy. So in my opinion, this is the worst of his new 9 attacks. Next up, I have forward 3+4. So this move, I thought this move was going to be broken. I thought, oh my goodness, a 17, 18 frame, safe on block, high combo starter? Are you serious? You're giving me a safe launcher? Well, even though what I said is still true, as it combos into down back 1+2, the problem with this move is that it's just not useful. So forward 3+4, it's not a new move, but it's a reworked move. So in T7, it was a high homing move, and on counter hit you'd get follow-ups if memory serves. My memory might be foggy now, but it wasn't a full-on launcher from what I can remember. This move no longer is homing. People can step this to Claudio's left, so they would sidestep right, and so that's unfortunate. It does have good forward momentum, however it only has range 2.4, I believe, if you look at the bottom left of my screen. 2.4, and if I jump to 2.5, right? So it's not the most ranged attack in Claudio's kit. It's not bad. Like, this move isn't bad, so it probably doesn't deserve the 8th spot, but when you see everything else above it, you may agree. However, I just don't find myself using this move, for the simple fact that When you're at this range, sort of that 2 to 2.5 range, there are many better things you want to be using, particularly at higher level play or in a tournament environment. Because the problem with this move is that if you whiff this, the opponent has about 1,000 years, give or take a decade, to actually whiff punish this. And that's quite unfortunate, especially when they're looking to duck Ida at this range anyway, if you're a good Claudio and you're whipping it out at this range. So this is prone to the same counterplay that Ida is prone to. Now, being the safe launcher side of things, sure, that's fantastic. The problem is, even if you hit it at maximum range, it just forces the opponent into a great situation. It's not a forced block, it doesn't have any stagger, it's just, you're just in their face at -8. And that's pretty bad for Claudio. He doesn't have the most amazing small Tekken in the game, be it that his back 3 is -4 on block and his jab string only is high, right? I won't get into that, but this move in general just puts Claudio in quite a compromised position, so for that reason I don't really like it. However, I do appreciate that it is a safe launcher. I do really enjoy that. However, I'm just finding quite a lot of difficulty fitting this into the game plan. Now, if it was homing, this conversation would be totally different and I'd be looking to use it all the time. But whenever I try to use it, either I'm getting jabbed out of it because it's a bit slow, or it's getting ducked because I'm always flexing Ida, or it just puts me in a bad situation against the majority of the cast, and I just don't like any of those. It's not a bad move so much as it's just not what I expected. I thought it would be better than it is, but unfortunately this move leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion. So the next move I'll be talking about to round out the best of our worst category here, so number 3, is going to be Starburst while running 2. Or just while running 2, but you need to have Starburst for it, I should say. So this move is... I used it a lot back in the CBT because I thought it was just going to be a straight upgrade from Ida, but when I actually was able to look at the data, I realized, that's not the case. So in Heat, it's okay. In Heat, it does 17 chip, as you see there, plus 8 on block, which is incredible, versus the 15 chip of Ida, so it's only a 2-point difference. And note too, so damage 15 versus damage 17, and look at the frames. Plus 6, plus 8, plus 8. And realistically, when you're plus 6, the opponent's not going to do much, right? I very rarely will I encounter someone who knows about Ida that takes their turn here other than a hard call out with armor or a rage art or something, right? And so in that respect, while running 1+2 is worse. Now let me take Heat off and show you that what the difference is, right, on or without Heat. So we have 8 damage plus 6 versus 9 damage, and it should actually be better there. It was just because he bumped the wall. One moment. Okay, so plus 6 versus plus 8, but 1 extra point of damage. Now here's also where we run into some problems with this move, okay? If the opponent ducks regular Ida, sure, yes, they get a punish, of course, right? Of course they do. Now, if they duck this move, the other problem you're giving them is you have even longer to recover, so characters that maybe have less than desirable crouched positions, they will have time to crouch cancel and do their most optimal punish against you. But that's not really where I run into issues with this move. The problem I have with it is it's not worth the heat bar in Heat. Look at this. Look at that. I get 2 uses of this move if I was to Heat Burst. That's awful. That's just not great. Versus, say, this move, which is a bit less, way more impactful, and if I squeak it out, I could get 3 uses, right? The other problem I have with it is that it is a shorter range move. So check this out. If you look at the range of Ida, right? Let's say we're standing at range, I don't know, 4, right? I'm going to try to do Ida as fast as I can, right? Recording, I could probably do it a bit quicker, but it still reaches, right? Let's go to 4.5. Almost reaches. So let's say Ida has an effective range of maybe 4.4, 4.3, as I hit the wrong move. Right? About here, let's say. Yeah. While running 2, on the other hand, this is not the case. So if I go to the same range, even 4, as I don't even hit the button. Good one, good one. Right? Shorter range. Now, while running 1 plus 2, pardon me, does have the benefit of having the same range as forward, forward, 4. So in a world where you're mixing up forward, forward, 4, you can also apply while running 1 plus 2. But you can do the same thing with Ida nonetheless. So that's not really a factor. The only thing that this move has going for it compared to Ida, and really compared to a lot of other things Claudio has, is that it is an incredible wall break. It does so much damage, and it really sets you up for success if you're in heat. Use this as your wall break 100% of the time. It will benefit you greatly. So say you wall splat, right, with, you know, back 1, back 2, just do this. It's incredible, but only while you're in heat. If you're not in heat and use it as your wall break, right, like say I have Starburst as I do now, and you do this, the follow-up combo, if it's a breakable wall, is actually worse in damage. So keep that in mind, just as a small little tidbit. If you're in heat, it's the way to go. If you're not in heat, it's not the way to go for the wall break. Okay? So that's the one redeeming factor, and because it does add so much damage when you're in heat against the wall, keeping in mind that you could get a heat wall splat with Ida itself, right? So say, right, just for example, not that this is a breakable wall, but say I land an Ida, right? Well, that's going to splat against the wall. Right? Boom, wall break. Right? If it's, say, Elegant Palace, for example, Lee stage, right? Or if it's just a single breakable wall, this will break it, right? Blah, 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 full combo, and you wouldn't even use this anyway, right? So, as a wall break, it's good. But otherwise, I would definitely steer clear of this attack, as it just isn't worth the heat bar. It's not worth the starburst. It's worse and more punishable than while running 2. It's stubbier than while running 2 for 1 extra point and +2 more in frame data, when your +6 is more than you should need for that. And with that said, that's it for the worst. Let's transition to the solid moves, or the mid-tier moves that I would use of the new ones. Alrighty, so to round out, I should say, no, to start our mid-tier, so the number 4 spot on my list, it'll be up forward 2. So this is a new move for Claudio. He had this in Tekken 7, but it was a totally different animation, totally different function, and it was plus on block, or no, it wasn't plus on block, but it was really good on Oki because it would beat all the kicks, and it was a very chunky move, but for all intents and purposes, this move has been reworked. It is a heat engager. Now, when I saw this heat engager at first, I was like, this seems really good. I can use this to mix up with Ida. I can, you know, use this to jump over lows. And sure, some of that was true, but not all of it. And what I also found was that, or once I realized that wasn't a great heat engager, I'm like, what the heck do I use this move for? So as per change of tier, I have change of scenery. So first up, I want to talk about, in my opinion, I just think up forward 2 is very awkward. It's a strange range, and when you whiff it, it's like, oh, like it almost looks like it should go farther than it really does. You know what I mean? Like it has what, 2.7? Yeah, 2.8 and 2.9. Yeah, so 2.8 range. So about here, which is the effective distance of, say, forward 4 as well. A much better mid, in my opinion. But anyway, the problem I have with this move is you're not really jumping lows from this range, for one. It's a bit too slow and incredibly linear, like incredibly linear. Anyone can step this just by like barely moving. It sucks. And it's more steppable to Claudio's left, or in other words, you can sidestep right. And kind of like I was saying with the forward 3+4, it's -8 on block. And that is problematic, frankly. And so I don't really use this move very much. However, the reason why it's in mid tier versus the worst tier is truly in terms of round situations, or round ending situations rather, excuse me, or floor break. This move is incredible because if you're in, say, a last hit situation, right, and you're low and your opponent's low-ish and you got to make that comeback, right, and say you're in heat, right, let's say you're in heat and you're playing at this range, but you're too afraid to throw out this because they're too far away, and you're too worried about the Ida mix, you don't want to get stepped, and you're worried about back one because you don't want to whiff, right, all these things. Well, the opponent's considering all this as well, and they're probably playing safe looking for that last hit. And how do most people last hit? Well, they jab, they down forward 1, or they, down 4, something like that. What Meteor Storm can do, or up forward 2, if you're in heat, is you can use this as a cheeky just, okay, I read you're going to go low or you're going to try to throw, and you're going to jump over it. Well, okay, why does the heat matter? Well, because you can use it as a heat engager to get free pressure. Now, what's the difference here? Why am I mentioning this versus, say, back 4-2? Well, the reason I'm mentioning that is because if you're right, and they do throw a low move, and you do jump it, this move does have the benefit of being quite a spicy heat engage combo starter, because it pops them in the air like that, which is far more useful in general than the alternative, which is, say, where they're sliding on the ground like that. Just in terms of move use, gravity in combos, combo trajectory, all that stuff, the flip tends to be better for Claudio than the slide. Now, you don't have to use the move this way by any means. This is just a way that I have found it to be kind of, not bad. But the real reason why it's in this tier is for the floor break. Why the floor break? Well, that's why we're on this map. If you're floor breaking with Claudio, I'm just going to do very basic stuff to show an example. Right? Look at the damage values. So we could do this, right? Back 3-3. 53 damage. That's a good one. We could do this. 51 damage. That's not so good. We could do this without Starburst. Keep that in mind. 54. Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. The problem with a lot of these moves is that, well, all of these moves and all of his floor smashes, at least from what I can tell, and this one as well, by the way, right there, is that none of them give Starburst, except for this one. And that's because it's a heat engager. So this is really important because in terms of applicable floor break, or you accidentally float someone out of the air into this, it is so much stronger to start your floor break with Claudio or balcony break with a Starburst move. So with Claudio, I mean, you probably know this, but if you don't, bonus tip, you always want to break the wall with this if you don't have Starburst, because it's the most damaging move that you can use to break the wall, and it gives Starburst. So when you land, he goes, Osserva, and you get to do your Starburst finisher if you've done a whole combo, or your Starburst combo if you haven't, right? This is the same situation with up forward 2 as a floor break, and that's why it is so special. So now, instead of 54 damage, right, we can hit that 55. Obviously, I can do a much larger combo, but just for demonstration purposes, we can hit a higher peak, right? So just as an even slightly better route, right, or not route, but ender, right, now we have Starburst. Oh, hey, you can do this as your floor ender, right? Not the best here, but regardless, it is better at the end of combos. That's neither here nor there. So what I'm mentioning and what I'm trying to get at is this move is in mid tier strictly for the fact that it is a Starburst gaining floor break, which I believe this is his only one, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I believe it's the only one. And so wall break though, no problem. You use this or this. No problem. Floor break, bit of a problem, and so we're kind of stuck with this. But because of that, and because of its uniqueness in that sense, it does get the bottom of the mid-tier spot because I actually use this move in this way, as it sets up the best combos or enders post floor break that you can get with Claudio. And that rounds out the up forward 2 component and the first of our mid-tier moves. So next up I have 3-2. So 3-2 is pretty well smack dab in the middle. It is the number 5 move of 9, and it's good, it's solid. So it's 14 frame is the first hit. It's tied with down forward 3. So down forward 3-1 is an incredible punish right at 14 frame. It can wall splat, set up a lot of stuff, or you can go this if you just want extended pressure. But 3-2 is pretty special in that it does the most amount of damage raw. It is a heat engager. It can wall splat as well, or wall break if you're close enough to the wall, because it's a heat engager. That's a trend with all heat engagers to my knowledge. And so at 14 frame, instead of using this and you know, setting up the situation that way, you can use this. However, what I also like about the move is that it is useful in counter hit situations off of your stronger counter hits, like say forward 3, boom, 3-2, heat engager. Counter hit 4-3, which is not a strong counter hit, but nonetheless, combo, right? And furthermore, it is one of the best ways to combo. So your starburst or heat routes will always use this move. Just as an example, like that, 67. So that's just a basic way of using it, but that in conjunction, or in comparison, excuse me, to this, 64. Yeah, sure, it's only 3 points more damage, but you know, if you start comparing every launcher, that's 3 points more there, 4 points more there. It's even 7 points more after one of his launchers, which is wild to me. So it's an incredible combo tool. It's a great alternative 14 frame poke. The first kick by itself, it is -10 on block, and if the opponent is at anything but max range, they can just down jab and beat the follow-up and punish it, so do keep that in mind. But regardless, as a quick whiff punish, if you want that heat engager to close out the game with the heat smash or whatever, or you need that quick floor break whiff punish, or wall break, pardon me, it's very, very, very good. So, not a whole lot to say on this one, but it's a great addition to the kit. Great heat engager, great combo tool, great wall break, 14 frame mid. Really, there's not a whole lot to say here, but everything about it is good. Other than just be careful about mashing it out on block. If the opponent is aware, they'll be looking at down jab here. And yeah, that's it for this move. Not much to say here. I think it's a great move. So third in our mid-tier, and number 6 on our list, is down 2-2. Now, I want to preface everything I'm going to say by saying this move is sort of here by default. And I say that because it is here due to the Tekken 8, I was going to say 7, Tekken 8 system changes. The problem is, every low in this game that Claudio has, from the old game and otherwise, are all launch punishable. So look at this, if you're not aware. Down back 3, -15. Down 3, -17. Down back 4, -13. You would never do this. You'd go down back 4-3, launch punishable. Down 4, -15. So the only one that you're left with from Tekken 7, and still now, is sidestep 4 at -12. Again, or this, but I'm sorry, no one's using just this. Okay? No. That's not happening, unless we're talking like truly 1 HP to kill situation at 7 damage, a whopping 7 damage. Yippee. So, in the old game, this move used to be a counter hit launcher in Starburst, and it was never a natural combo. The second hit was blockable, even on hit. It's a bit of a knowledge check, but in Starburst, or with Starburst, and counter hit, it was a full combo launcher. They have since changed it now to be this pitiful damage, tech crouching, 20 frame low, natural combo, -1 on hit. Now, again, to touch base to my point, this move is in the 6th position by default, because if you don't want to throw your life away using lows, you are stuck with either sidestep 4, which is a great low, don't get me wrong, but being out of sidestep, it's actually a lot slower than the 20 frames it says it is, And a lot of people are familiar with this low, so even if you try your darndest to hide it, they're going to be ready for it and maybe even looking for it. Now, there's a bit of a visual mix up here with sidestep back 1 as he does twirl, right? Just like sidestep 4. So that can be if they're trying to react to the animation. And I will say that you can store the sidestep input for 100 years. Look at this. Right? Claudio was full on standing, and I did the low. So this is good. A good way to throw people off. Bonus tip. Ah, there we go. The sidestep 4 is a great low. Don't get me wrong. But it is slow. And so when you're up close and personal, Claudio frankly does not have a low that you'd be willing to throw out, because again, all of them you are risking your life up close. And the down 4 being, 6 damage, -4 on hit, -15, you're like, oh god, this is just to end rounds. I wouldn't use this any other way, right? So, down 2-2. Let's start talking about down 2-2. This isn't a video about his bad lows, but let's talk about the best of the worst. So, this low, 2 hit, 14 damage, very bad damage. Very bad damage. But this is only 10, so whatever, I guess it's okay. It does not have great range at all. Right, look at this. Range 2 it hits, 2.1 no bueno. So you have to be range 2 or less and it'll hit. 2 or less, natural combo. The single hit is -11 and it only does 6 damage. Both hits together, -13, and they do 14 damage together. This on hit leaves Claudio +1, which would be fine. This low would be amazing if we were in the standing position. The problem I have with this move is it leaves us in a crouch position. Now, that said, there is a little bit of a mind game that you can employ with this move. So I'll get the bot to do this to me. That's why I have him at Claudio. I'll get him to do down 2-2, dick jab, right? So if I go to do anything, right, 13 frame mid, let's say, he's gonna beat me. I go to do a jab, obviously, he's gonna beat me. And so it forces this mind game where, and even if you had a 12 frame mid, you'd lose here. It forces this mind game where the opponent goes, okay, either you're gonna dick jab me and I have to backdash, and even then, look at this, right? You're probably gonna get hit unless you're talking like, I don't know, max range maybe. Even then. So the nice thing about this low that you'll note here is that it's bringing Claudio closer to me every time. So it always puts him in range. There we go, max range. It always puts him in range of the dick jab. And I don't even know if that's avoidable always. I had to do like a mini dash cancel there. Anyway, really hard to avoid, right? That's kind of the point I'm making here. So that's option number 1. So if I want to beat that, I have to then do it back. But alternatively, this is what happens, right? I want to beat that. Okay, I'm going to dick jab you back. Oh. Right. And furthermore, oh, sorry, bad example. Right? So we trade on the dick jabs there. It still beats even like 11 frame lows. Right? So it creates a little bit of a mind game. Little bit, right? So it's 14 damage, but that could be 14 plus, 5, or if it's counter hit, 6. So, 19, 20 damage low. But if you're employing this mind game, right, I do it once, the opponent's like, okay, yeah, whatever. I do it again. Okay, all right, this must be some tech. I'm gonna counter this with a dick jab of my own. Right? And then 4th time, boom, right, hop kick. So that's just, that exists around down 2-2. It's kind of his only poke low, if we can even use that phrase. It doesn't track, even though you think it would. It does not. Specifically, it does not track at all to Claudio's left, aka sidestep right against this. So, yeah, -1 on hit, crouch, not the greatest thing in the world, but it does force the 13 frame, while rising punish that isn't a high. I know that's a rare situation, but it does exist. Looking at Shaheen, he's got one. And it does enforce a mini mind game. So for that reason, down 2-2 does take the 6th spot, kind of by default, like I said, being his only poke and not death on block low. But it's actually not that bad if you start to employ this mini mind game. And Sidestep 4 again has this delay mind game / back 1 mind game. So his 2 applicable lows for, you know, safer Tekken aren't too bad. It just took me a while to come around to this move because it's such a disappointing state to be in, even on hit, but c'est la vie. Alrighty, so our top 3 of Claudio's new moves. Number 3 in bronze, we're going to talk about Starburst 4-2. This guy right here. So back in the CNT days, this move was hilariously broken. It is still quite a challenge to punish properly, because you can see Claudio actually puts a lot of distance between him and the opponent. And even though you can punish it, most characters can. Depending on the range I do it, it varies in its frames. So minus 17 there, but up close. Okay, well, there are times I've seen it read at minus 20, minus 22. Maybe it has to do with the wall. Yeah, probably. Anyway, it is punishable, but it's very awkward to punish. It's kind of like Paul Deathfist, where you kind of have to know how to punish it. So it's not bad. It's not bad to just throw out. Your heat's about to end, but you can't land the low smash. You might as well just use it and hope that you either hit them or chip out. It's not bad. But, okay, why is it actually good? Why is it a top 3 move, Zedd? Like, let's relax, buddy. Well, let me show you. So, as a 12-frame punish, it's one of the best in the game, if not arguably the best in the game. I don't know. I haven't seen every 12-frame punish, obviously. But it's up there. It's up there. 45 damage, wall breaking, combo starter. If you floated them or you counter hit them. And if it does break the wall, obviously that's a combo starter, right? And if it does counter hit, you can't counter hit confirm it, but it is a combo starter. So do be ready, right? Just be ready to run up if you see, right, the delay. So on and so forth. Drops the combo. You get the idea. So very, very good. Now, another strength that it has is it can be a cheeky way to end rounds, right? So you're playing full screen, and I really like to use this post rage art. I'm just going to play this here while I continue chatting about it. So post rage art, it can be okay if you're fighting someone who wants to just wake up heat burst, like say Devil Jin, if they're in heat, right? They want to wake up instantly, just heat smash. So what I do, 4-2. And I slap the Devil Jin out, or the Elisa who does her get up boot and fly at me, like any kind of nonsense like that. It can cheese out rounds that way. Now, as a float, you know, a lot of people will use jab, right? People are very, very comfortable using jab to float, 10 frame. But as Claudio in heat or with Starburst, you kind of want to consider using standing 4. There are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, believe it or not, his standing 4 would be like an incredible anti-air button in Street Fighter. It has such a massive hitbox on the toe. You wouldn't believe it when I was doing it in the lab versus certain situations. You wouldn't believe it. And if you do catch him out of the air, let's just get Claudio jumping. Full combo, right? So that's the beauty about this move, is that if they're in the air, right, don't be afraid to just let it go, right? Let her rip, so to speak. Right? So standing forward becomes a really good check, and if you think they're gonna run at you with, like, let's say Shaheen up forward 1, that's an airborne move. Elisa boot, she's considered airborne. Devil Jin fly, Morning Crow, considered airborne. Blah 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 blah. Nina gunshots, Victor gunshot. Like, there's a lot more ranged options in this game than ever before, and so Claudio controls that, man. Like, back up, play at, say, like, range 4 to 5, and just let them throw their life away. If you see Victor go, oh, and then he shoots you, you know what I'm saying? You just, boom, duck, 4-2. You're dead, buddy. Smell you later. Right? Like, it's hilariously good when it's good, and that's why it's so good. Like, the amount of times I've floated kids out of the air with this, boom, full combo, you're dead, or 12 frame punish, boom, you're dead. Because otherwise Claudio's 12 frame is this, forward 2-2. It's a good punish, you give some starburst, but this is the sauce for 12 frame. The last thing I want to mention for it, it is amazing in combos, because it is a wall break, right? So I'm just going to end it short, but, you know, say you want to get a ranged wall break, look at that. Right? Look at that. Like, let's see. I don't actually know exactly how far it wall breaks, but, you know, even if I hit it here, it wall splats at least, right? So, incredible wall break. Incredible wall break. Like, insane range. While Claudio's combos, they have pretty solid wall carry. Like, if you do something like this, as I drop it, you have insane carry with the micro dash and everything. But sometimes it still isn't enough, right? And you want to go just that bit further. 4-2. 4-2 has insane carry, and if it does wall splat, even from a great distance, you can do something like, say, this, right? 4-2. Okay, didn't quite get the splat, but you can run up and do 3+4. So really good. And it adds to his combo game. So outside of heat, right? If you're wanting to just end in heat, like let's say you've got a really good pressure situation going, right? Okay, well he's by the wall. Bad example. Let's say you just want to heat for the pressure, right? That's not abnormal. That's not uncommon, right? Drop the combo, you get it. Let's just say I heat, end the combo. 4-2 is not bad because it adds like quite a... Here, we'll do this. There we go. It sets up a good situation for you here. So if you look at this range, right? I can Ira from here. I can just wait around for the 4-2 itself here if I'm in heat. I can, you know, run up forward 4. Like, you can employ a lot of offense at this range after combo and 4-2. And it's not that bad for damage either. So this kind of sets up Claudio's game if you just want to reset that neutral, and or if you're close to a wall and you get, like, say, a lucky tornado, you can just create a ton of space with 4-2 and regain that ground. Because remember, map control is very important in 3D games. I mean, they are in all fighters, but so this is just a great way to just control space, you know, 4-2. And it's excellent. So a great move when it works, not something you can be spamming or abusing, but when it works, it works. And as a 12 frame punish, that is incredible. That means majority of strings that anyone whiffs or you block or any kind of weird flying lunging mechanic, they have to keep it in mind. They have to. And that's why it is so powerful, as well as being such an insane wall break. And that is our bronze rank, 3rd place of Claudio's new moves. So in silver, our 2nd place spot, we'll be talking about the Heat Smash. There's not a whole lot to say here that I didn't really already talk about with 4-2, because as you can see, he basically just does a sidestep 4, right, into 4-2. So really we can talk about 4-2 as a move on its own, and the move, funnily enough, has a very similar effective range to sidestep 4, which is why I'm saying it's literally sidestep 4 into 4-2. But anyway, right? So it pretty much shoots the same distance, so we don't need to really address the wall break system, but anything I said about 4-2 applies to Heat Smash with regards to combo ending and wall breaking as well, right? So if we're near here, right, boom, oh, I need more distance for wall break, Heat Smash, you got it, brother, I got you, right? So it's good in that respect. Now, what else does it do? Why is it special? What makes this Heat Smash good? Well, I don't remember the exact count off the top of my head, but I believe it is only one of 5 low heat smashes in the game, 5 or 6, so that's unique in that respect. It is one of the low heat smashes that is actually minus 14 on block. There are a couple, that are minus 15, which is no good. We don't like that. We don't like that. And it's not, or it's better than Lee's in a lot of ways, though it is a bit stubbier, I'll admit. Leading me to my next point. Well, it is one of the safer low heat smashes, and it does do great wall stuff. All the low heat smashes wall break. what makes Claudio's particularly noteworthy is that it is the stubbiest heat smash in the game. Period. All 32 characters and all like 36 heat smashes or whatever across stances, it is the stubbiest heat smash in the game. Sitting at a very unimpressive 2.1. Look at that. I was at 2.1 and I freaking missed. Right? Right? So, you know, I mean, this is versus Claudio, but still, when I was testing this, even against like Kuma and Jack, I was whiffing at 1.7, 1.8. It's ridiculous. So, very, very stubby. Very easily backdashed. That's the problem. Yes, it is a hell sweep in a sense, as it does 40 damage, 20 is real damage, and 20 is recoverable health. But it is, or 23 damage and 16 recoverable health, excuse me. But it is, without a doubt, very susceptible to backdash. Do keep that in mind. I cannot emphasize that enough. When I'm in the mirror and Claudio's in heat, if he isn't standing on my toes, literally, I am just backdashing until he whiffs. Because on whiff, it's not like I'm committing low mid. No, that mid is coming out. And it's a sidestep 4 into down back 1+2. And if you whiff this, oh boy, you're getting punished so bad. So it's very much a DP in terms of its risk on whiff, but it's one of the safer lows and low heat smashes in the game. It is I guess, the safest hell sweep style move in the game, though it is locked behind heat. Now, I want to mention it does set up Claudio's game plan, but what it does most impressively, and why it takes the second spot, is it mends one of the issues Claudio has with his game plan. And I talked about this when I talked about down 2-2 in the mid section, but instead of having, you know, all these launch punishable lows, right, and only having sidestep 4 and down 2-2, it fixes a fundamental issue by giving him a third option that the opponent has to consider at the same range you'd consider down 2-2. So you now have a power low that is not launch punishable by majority of the cast, and it wall breaks. So now when you sidestep, instead of doing, you know, just sidestep 4, we can sidestep heat smash, or we can sidestep back 1, or we can, you know, instead of doing down 2-2, all of a sudden they're used to that move, maybe they don't worry about it, now you're flexing the low heat smash. That's a lot more threatening, right? So not much to say here other than it really uniquely emphasizes his low game, which is severely lacking, probably bottom 3 lows in the game. And it also gives him access to another close range threat that he sometimes lacks. And it does everything that 4-2 does. Pardon me. So, pretty good heat smash. I honestly wouldn't change it. I like having the low heat smash. I don't think he needs a mid heat smash. Definitely doesn't need a high heat smash. I don't even know if there might be like one of those in the game. I think there's one that starts with a high. Anyway. So it's good. It's pretty good. And the reason why this takes silver spot like above 4-2, even though it's a one-time use thing, is it does inevitably fix a lot of his issues, and you can use it technically every single heat. You just have to make sure that you conserve, right, a starburst move, right, because you only get 4 on a full heat engage, or 3 if you use heat burst otherwise. So do keep that in mind, both when you're comboing and when you're just using raw starburst moves in neutral and or on defense. So that finishes our silver spot. Let's round it out at the very, very end with our final pick. So for our final spot, if you didn't know it or guess it already, we have the infamous Zedd Special, aka down back 1+2. This move is egregious. This move is so stupid. I love it. I love everything about this move. So let me tell you about this stupid ass move. Okay, so number 1, it has pretty okay range. So that was 2.4. There you go. So 2.4 range. It has almost immediate tech ducking properties, very similar to down forward 2 in that sense. It then goes from being a duck to a jump. It is a whopping -12 on block, which is not bad at all for a move that evades everything under the sun. I have ducked mids with this. I duck highs with this. I have ducked throws with this, obviously. It is incredible. And not to mention, yeah. It's a freaking counter hit launcher. Because of course it is. Of course it is. So this move is freaking ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous. And it leads to insane damage compared to his normal launchers. Never mind ones that are, you know, minus 12 on block. Like that, this move is just... There you go, 59 into more. That's for the easy combo. I was trying to do the hard combo, that's what I dropped. 62, there you go. So, this move is oh my god, this thing is insane. Claudios are not using this enough, that's why I call it the Zedd Special. I watch replays of all kinds of higher level Claudios than myself. I'm sitting at Flame Ruler, which is not bad, but it's not, you know, Tekken God or anything. And they don't use this that much. And sure, it has no tracking, and it can be a little stubby. But boy, oh boy, let me tell you, it basically made this move, down 1+2, obsolete. Down 1+2 still has instant duck frames and can also tech duck mids, but it's minus 18, right? That's super risky, especially in a game as volatile as Tekken 8. So I would much rather take the minus 12. I love this move. And we're not even done yet. So on Oki, and actually the best way to demo this is off of the move itself. Look at this. I have Claudio set to all. And I have him set to, say, do, I don't know, recovery kick. Sure. Oops. Oh, counter hit launcher. Long story short, you can go through all these options. Side roll left. You know, front roll. The only thing that an opponent can do is wake up backward. And ready for the rub? Let me show you. And again, Claudio is set to block all. Like, I just want to make that clear. That's real. That's real. I have tested it. And if you time it just right, that's real. And if I watch, I'll delay it. Blocked. So, off of just a normal hit, and you can end combos like this, like there are ways to set this up, trust me. Off of a normal hit, you now have put the opponent in legitimate Oki situation setup off of just this move alone. And if you run up and they back like that, you might risk a minus 12, and you may whiff, but you know, that's the risk you're taking. So this move is incredible, and we're still not done. We're still not done. Starburst, down back 1+2. Very similar move, with three distinctions, three differences. Oh, and by the way, I want to mention too, it's a great tornado in combos. Just additional note, like it's one of the best ones he has. So say if you're doing something like this, really good tornado, because it hits so low to the ground, right? So if you're doing this combo, look at this. Look how low that hits, right? So that's really nice, but we're still not done. Regular hit, full combo with Starburst. And ready? On block. Y'all ain't ready for this. -2, and look at the range. This is Claudio's range. You do anything, hop kick. You do anything in heat, forward 1+2, 1+2. So, this move is absolutely ridiculous. It is insanity how glorious this move is. And both the regular version, the Starburst version, I don't care, you name it, I'm using this thing regularly. And if I'm in heat, boy am I a scumbag. Boy, am I a scumbag. I will do it on block into itself. Just so people sometimes see what I'm doing. So, this move is ridiculous. Like, I know I just gave away, like, all the Claudio tech, but, like, whatever. I need people to recognize how strong this move is, because if people can start to counterplay it, maybe I won't rely on it so much, Kick W. But this move is dumb. It does literally everything. Of all the stuff that Claudio gained in Tekken 8, this is by far and away the strongest thing, and it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. This is Heat Mode. This is Starburst. Like, this move, nah. I want the real Starburst carry. It's this move, bro. I'm telling you. Down back 1+2, if you're a Claudio player and you're not using this, use it. If you don't know how to use it, tune into my streams and I will show you how often I get away with this move. It's disgusting. And if you're fighting Claudio and you don't play him, I'm sorry, but like, this move is dumb. I don't know what to tell you how to counter this other than use more mids and lows. But if you do that, you're opening yourself up to hop kick or down forward 2 counter hit. So yeah, that's down back 1+2. That move is dumb. That rounds out my list. I think it is the best new thing Claudio has. If I happen to miss something, tell me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, if any of this was interesting to you, or if anything surprised you, or if you're like, yep, I've subscribed to the Church of Down Back 1+2. Welcome. All my children are welcome. Father Zedd will teach you the way of Down Back 1+2. This thing is dumb. I appreciate you as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace for now.